Nerd On the Podcast is proudly partnered with Apogee Electronics and Odyssey Headphones, leaders in the field of audio.
Sorry. That is your cross to bear, Caitlin. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nerd On, the podcast you didn't need but deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome.
Yeah, you are.
Today, it didn't start with today, but I just want to say today, in Fabletown, every fairy tale creature lives alongside regular New Yorkers. But the question that keeps everyone up at night is, who killed Rose Red? We find out today with the marquee topic, Fables, Volume 1,
Fables.
Legends in Exile. Let's get the show.
That's called Too Much.
Today, Tom, too much. Let's get the show on the road. Introduce ourselves. My name is Tom.
I'm Caitlin.
Corey is joining us on the interwebs. Say hello, Corey.
Hi, I'm Corey.
Hey, it's Corey, and I am Josh, and this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation that is powered by Patreon. As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun perks, like a Discord server in which you can talk to us and to other members of the Nerd On Nation. You get bonus content that is not seen by anybody but you.
Just
You get early access to our episodes, our videos. We try to do more and more and as much as we can for the members of the Nerd On Nation, and we're always thinking of ways to give more. So do check that out. It allows us to be the best that we can be. nerdon.io/Patreon. And recently, we partnered with Apogee and Odyssey. Odyssey is the creator of these lovely headphones that we do have on our heads right now. Sounds so beautiful. It's just such a good experience.
And they're
They're
really
so nice.
light.
They sound good from here.
Yeah.
And Corey is joining us from the interweb.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for repeating me.
Apogee's hype mic.
Yes. He is using Apogee's hype mic, who
I
we are
am.
partnered with.
The ultimate
The
podcasting
same
microphone.
Listen to our live show to get that
Understand
reference.
why we did that.
Yes.
From the internet.
Yes. But we are dealing with a
Where I'm
comic.
coming from.
Oh man, so I have this physical comic book in front of me.
Wow.
But as the power of technology
No.
continues to get better, right, Corey?
Oh, no.
Wouldn't you find a great way, like right now, using the
Oh,
power
no.
of technology, find a way to read comic books to me? And let's say if you're in a dark room because you have to record because you don't have a professional studio
Uh-huh.
of your
Wow.
own,
Okay.
and then like
Uh-huh.
have like this screen that's illuminated by like
Uh-huh.
a wonderful
Like a
app.
backlight
Yeah, and like
Wow,
a
that's so
powerful
cool.
user interface.
Wow.
Wouldn't it be great
that
if
makes reading comics a breeze.
yeah, it's like the ultimate comic book experience, and like somehow it can support your favorite podcasters as well as reading comic books on a really powerful comic book website.
I have something just for you then, Tom.
What
Head to
is that?
nerdon.io/comicsology.
Wow,
I'm
the
not-
ultimate podcast.
No.
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 but Comixology, yeah. In all seriousness, it's one of our one of our affiliates for the show.
A little bit of every purchase does go to supporting the show. And especially with Comixology Unlimited, there are a lot of comics on there, and one might say that it's unlimited.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
If
I
you're
would
like
suggest
Josh.
it. Yeah, I read at night. That's the time that I have to read.
But
and
you
so
don't-
I use my iPad.
And you don't want to disturb the wifey.
Yes. And I can turn down the brightness
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So check that out. nerdon.io/comicsology.
It is pretty dope.
Yeah. That is the housekeeping. There is no more. Let us get on with it.
Yeah. So Fables Volume 1. Wow. DC Vertigo. It is Volume 1. So it's a Volume 1. It's one whole arc. And the next arc does other parts. And
So you might say it is a complete arc.
yeah, it's a complete arc. It has one full story, and it's a really good kind of introduction to what the rest of the world is. And so that allows us to at the end of the show, we're gonna rate it. And then right now we're going to our first segment, which is
Guess that
wolf.
from- He's a cop. He used to eat pigs. Now he's not gonna eat them. He's a wolf, but now he's a cop. He used to eat pigs. Now he's not. But he's gonna figure out who murdered Rose.
Rose. Bing! I
compare you to a kiss from a rose red on the gray.
Ooh, the more I get of
you, the stranger it feels.
In Fabletown,
Yeah,
there we
yeah.
are. Okay.
This is a
Now
murder
that rose
mystery.
red is
Okay,
all
so
the-
guess that grump.
Big Bill Wolf will help us on the way.
Yeah.
All right, so if you're brand new to the show, welcome.
A lot just happened. Sorry.
Yes. Welcome. Hope you are healthy.
Willkommen,
and
bienvenue, welcome.
and are enjoying this rompus
It's
Rakias
chaos.
motley
bedlam.
crew. So guess that grump right now. We're going to go around the table as well as the interweb to see who is going to have the lowest rating out of all of us, and that's a rating from 0 out of 5. 5 being the highest, 0 being the lowest, and no matter how high the number is, the lowest person in the group will be the grump for the week.
I think it's
and
Ali.
Since yes, Ollie is a wonderful
he's not
C
here right
on the
now.
Scantron. Since I always mess it
Dealing
up
with family
and I
shit.
always remix it all up, I'm going to guess that Caitlin will be the grump.
Okie dokie tay.
Don't improv some every time. Caitlin, if you couldn't have got any votes, you'd be like, huh.
Yeah, I know. Keeps you guessing.
I feel spited.
Caitlin, that throws it to you.
Let's see. I think that it will be Josh.
Caitlin.
Ooh.
I
My
know
vote
it's-
is for Caitlin.
All right.
Wow. Just
Your
angry.
vote is for
that an
Caitlin?
angry
Yes,
vote?
it is.
It's an angry
No,
vote.
I already thought that.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Okay, Ali, who do you vote for?
Okay.
Oh, nothing, because he's at a wedding.
I'm just kidding. That leaves it to me. So I will vote for. This is tough. I don't even know.
That's why
Caitlin.
we're calling guessing it. Oh, 3 on Caitlin?
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh.
Huh.
Huh. And the Nerd on Nation votes for Jajois.
Oh. Huh. Joshua.
You guys get me.
So that means at the end of the episode, Tom and I will go first,
Mhm.
as we have no votes. Then Josh, then Caitlin.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay.
Super cool.
Let's go to our complete spoiler of that, which is going to be our initial reactions and our first impressions if you're across the pond or just another ethereal place. I'll go first. Fables, I think, was first introduced to me as The Wolf Among Us. The video game from
Oh.
Telltale.
Telltale.
To Gus.
The Wolf Among Us is a wonderful game. Thank you, Corey.
Yes, it is.
That is
You're
a
welcome.
choose your adventure decision based game where you play as the main character of Fables, the Big Bad Wolf or Big B,
Big B.
and you're solving one of the first murders that's ever happened in the last hundreds of years. And it kind of gives you a little bit of the idea of what the comic book is, as it serves as actually as the prequel to the comic books. And I loved it. I thought it was one of the greatest mystery games I've ever played, and I don't think I've played a lot of them, but like I've watched a lot of mystery movies, and so I'm like seeing how it feels to have that same agency as like a detective, and you don't have like the parlor scene, yada yada. But the reading the comic books, I was like, I'm in it after the video game, and I read it, and I read this, the first issue, and I was like, oh, this is fucking dope. And so I had this first trade. And after that, I went to the next trade, and I was like, "This is fucking dope." And then I fell off immediately because I think Batman or something like that. Something happened.
That sounds right.
It was probably during like the Capes Crusader days, probably for me. And I literally like just had to go on reading new assignments.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, we had a lot of reading assignments. But no, I absolutely loved the book. I like comic books in general, and also it's DC Vertigo. So I've liked this terminology that I've heard. DC Vertigo is kind of like the HBO for comic books. They typically
like that.
deal with a lot of like
Yeah.
more adult themed, and sometimes they're not as like poppy, but like they use characters that you're familiar with, or even characters that you're not familiar with, but then they're able to go and talk about these things that like older readers would like.
Yeah, I can see
Nice.
that.
Corey?
For me, same. I found out about it through Wolf Among Us, and I beat that game 3 or 4 times, and then found out it was from comic, but I didn't actually get around to reading it until Tom lent me his copy.
Oh, okay,
and-
violence.
What?
I just hit the mic because I was doing this. Like, can't catch this fade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's trying to pose like a
Oh
big,
yeah,
big bad.
So Tom lent me his copy. I read it a couple of times, and then read it I think 2 more times in preparation for this episode as well. I'm a big fan of this series. I think it's insanely creative. I'm always a big fan of like finding a realistic way for larger than life characters to live in the real world. That's why I like movies like
The Joker.
Unbreakable or what?
Like the Joker. I'm kidding.
Unbreakable and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this.
Nice.
Caitlin.
My first introduction to it was for this episode, actually, because I haven't played Wolf Among Us. I've had many friends rave about it, and I just
You're
hadn't gotten
welcome.
to it. But of course, the first thing I thought of was Once Upon a Time, because same
Which is
kind of premise.
Once Upon a Time was supposed to be this.
Oh, wow!
They optioned.
They Disney-fied it.
They optioned this as a story.
Elsa,
and then,
Kristoff.
And
Yeah. Which I mean, I like that show too, but this was interesting because I could like feel what was going through the writer's mind when they were coming up with this premise of like, oh man, wouldn't it be really cool if these like storybook kids things were like dark and gritty, but not that dark and gritty, but still dark and gritty. And I don't know, I enjoyed how it all came together. Like you kind of see how things are going to pan out and like you kind of know how it's going to end in a way. But the payoff getting there was like worth.
Yeah.
So she didn't like it. She enjoyed it, but
I like the comic. Happy?
You must say that, or we don't
apparently,
believe you.
I like the comic,
So
but
she hated it.
Hey,
No.
look, I'm just trying to
Joshua?
protect you. Do you know how many times Corey got like all the death threats for him not doing?
Jesus.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Yeah.
I'm protecting you, Caleb.
thank you.
Yeah.
So
You know what you say to Tom next time he says that to you?
What?
Just look him in the eyes and be like, I'm not wearing hockey pads.
That's it.
that was actually kind of lobbed. That was an easy serve.
I'm very
Yeah.
gullible
Yeah. You fell right into that trap.
every time.
So I told my
Can't really
comic
do the
books
voice right now though.
I told my comic books origin story a couple of times. Wasn't super into superhero comics, and a buddy of mine,
Zombies.
Buzz, he gave me a
Buzz,
stack.
Coolest fucking
He gave me a
ever.
stack, and among this was
A
Fables.
book among us.
A book among this pile was Fables, and so I read it then, and I fucking loved it, because I do like alternate realities or alternate tellings of things you know and love. So it was a fantastic journey. Yeah, I'll get into favorite parts later. But yeah, no, I really super dug it.
Would you say that you liked it?
Nope.
Yes. Sorry. That is your cross to bear, Caitlin. Make boobs, make bog, make brog.
Wow, you fucked it up. Trying to love it, smack in my face, and you fucked it up.
She just got mad.
Make boobs, make bog, make rog.
Too many characters.
True.
So cool. That lets everyone know a little bit of what our ratings are going to be and how the show will be at the end of the day. So let's move on to the later two segments, which are going to be our brief synopsis and our production. Then after that, we'll go into our favorite parts, favorite characters, and then we'll do our qualms and then rate. So
Brief synopsis.
I'm going to try and make this brief.
There was crime and then there was not.
No, okay.
Mystery intrigue.
So imagine all of the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. So the Big Bad Wolf, the Three Little Pigs, Snow White, Red Rose, Bluebeard, all of them. What's Ichabod Crane, all those people.
Yeah.
They all lived in a dimension, another realm of fable people, and this adversary came and then ushered them all. Pretty much took over each kingdom and
Sauron.
killed everybody. And they all escaped to New York and to live amongst what they call the Mundies, the Mundanes. And they all live in this small little borough and called Fabletown. And Fableton. And some of them live into the woods, apartments, and stuff like that. And they have to wear glamours. And glamours are expensive that witches make so that they can all look like humans. Some people are not as fortunate to be able to afford that because their riches were taken from them, their lands and their titles. And so people like the Three Pigs or giants and dragons have to live on the farm. Some people who live in between, like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, his curse comes back whenever they're having marital issues and they can't afford like the thing to have the glamour because they didn't have their riches with them. So the story starts with Jack from the Jack the Beanstalk running into Big B Wolf, who's the sheriff now. So it's the big bad wolf, Big B Wolf, who is now the sheriff of Fableton, and says there's a big crime. We jump to seeing Snow White, who is the deputy mayor, who is listening to a claim from Belle and Beast to try to get money for a glamour, and she can't worry about it because she got so much shit to do. And King Cole is the true mayor of Fableton, but the way democracy goes,
he's a jolly old soul.
Yes, the way the democracy goes, he just does all the glad handling and pretty much asks Snow White what she's going to do, and then he'll act upon that. He'll do general legislation, but she'll do all the details. And then Big B comes in and tells Snow White, like, hey, Rose Red, your sister, has been involved in a crime, and it seems like a crime of violence. They go to the crime scene, blood all over the apartment.
Everywhere.
So detectiving
ensues.
Mystery sleuthing ensues.
Sleuthing, I like that one best.
Sleuthing and slews.
Let's not let him speak anymore.
It ensleuths.
All done,
Tom. We get introduced to.
All right.
Yes, I heard that. I like that.
Thank you.
We get introduced to Bluebeard. We get introduced to what other characters we get introduced to?
A lot.
Boy Blue,
Flycatcher,
the Flying Monkeys,
Buffkin. We see one of the pigs that he blew the house down, and we also see a picture of Grandma in Big B's house, which is weird. And then
you also see Captain Hook's hook
yes.
and Blackbeard's thing.
Yeah,
Bluebeard.
And so we learn pretty much from these interactions of investigating what happened to Rose Red. That any character like the Big Bad Wolf or Bluebeard who have been known for villainous means and violence and crime, they were all given general amnesty, and so they can no longer be persecuted for the crimes they committed before they all escaped to the real world or our world. And so there's a lot of tension between what people did, who they are, and what we as the reader know them as, and then what they're doing now. We meet Prince Charming.
Who's a
fucking amazing character.
Ugh, terrible.
He's so charming.
Oh, it's so good.
Charm the pants right off you.
And then so as Big B gets this all together, he meets everyone at top during this Remembrance Day, where everyone remembers what it was like to live remember Berry Days, what it was like to live in the other dimension. And keep in mind, everyone listening and watching, these characters have all lived in the real world for hundreds of years now. They're all super old, but then they're magical, so they never age. And
poor Pinocchio.
Oh yeah. And so he is swimming on top of the Mayor Cole's penthouse, and then gets his little robe on, and then does the parlor scene where he gets to explain to everybody what happened, why it happened, but also how he figured it out. And so we end up learning that Rose Red isn't dead, and she was never in a crime of violence, and that this has all been a big setup between her and her boyfriend Jack from the Jack the Beanstalk to get out of this wedding contract that Bluebeard set up, because Jack is notorious for trying to do these quick get rich quick schemes, and they lost all this money. And so Bluebeard, who has like most of his land and his titles, all his stuff, and was able to give people things, he pretty much took everyone else's titles. He's pretty much just kingpin.
Oh yeah. No, he definitely is.
They want to take his money, and there's a whole big ploy, and they found out that Rose Red is right amongst them all in
Incognito.
The crowd.
Bum,
and
bum, bum.
the wonderful button, I think, is actually because of Snow White, and she has to deliver misery equally to everybody, and no one's happy.
I felt so bad for her.
I loved it. And so Rose Red and Jack don't go to prison, and they don't serve time, but they do have to do 200 hours of community service. They will get some money back because Prince Charming, who's an asshole, who supposedly sold his lands and his titles from a place that he can't get anything from, only got a few $10,000-$20,000. And wants to buy that back, but then also Bluebeard gets all his money back too.
Yeah.
And broke all his contracts too. So everyone gets away scot-free, and we find out that Big B has a baby little crush on Snow White.
Hardcore
crush.
A baby little
like
massive
hardcore crush.
And then end into the next arc, which is on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to read
next
that
time,
one.
Next time.
Yeah.
So it's super cool. So that leads us into now our production.
Yes, the production. The publication company was DC Vertigo, and I'm realizing that DC Vertigo is my brand.
Hell yeah.
Why the Last Man, Preacher,
Swamp Thing, V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta, Watchmen. The writers of this were Bill Willingham. He did X-Men Unlimited, Batman, Legends of the Dark Knight, and Jack of Fables. The artists are Mark Buckingham, Marvelman Titans. He won the Eisner Award for his work on Fables. Steve Leialoha, who did Howard the Duck, Spider-Woman, New Mutants. Lan Medina, The Punisher, Max, Arya, and District X. Craig Hamilton, who did Spider-Man and Hulk. Those are the artists. The publication date was July 2002. The series order was 150 issues total, and it's the amount of copies sold is unlisted.
Yeah.
So-
And if everyone watching, I do have volume 3, which is the winner of 3 Eisner Awards.
Whoa.
Wow.
And so for everyone that's listening for the
that's
first
kind
time,
of like the Oscars for
yeah.
comics.
And it wasn't until our sister, brother, cousin, uncle, nephew, aunt podcast show, the
Cables Crusaders.
whichever Daguerre you want to give them to.
Wow. Okay.
David Barry is the one that's like, oh, this is what the Eisners are, and I was like, oh shit. And so typically, whoever Eisner winner are like becomes like the top seller next year.
Whoa.
And so yeah, this is one of the ones that Buckingham got the award for.
Wow.
Wow.
Dang.
And you might see some spoilers if you scroll through. I'm just saying.
I'm just,
The only reason I just saw, I was like, oh god,
I'm just looking at art.
I'm not even this far.
Yeah.
But my sister, shout out to my sister Tammy, she is actually way further than I am.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's some crazy shit. Anyways, so good
Shout
job.
out to Tammy.
Shout out to Tammy. So that brings us into favorite parts and
Favorite parts, yeah.
Okay, so Fables, favorite parts. Go, Corey.
Jesus Christ. Man. I mean, anything with Bigsby is pretty great. He's kind of the character
He's Wolverine.
I wanted him to be, like, exactly. Off the top of my head, his moment with one of the 3 pigs crashing on his couch all the time
Yep.
and serving him
Oh yeah. That
ham and
one's
eggs.
great. You are a monster.
But then
Yeah,
having
you're
the black tidy whities,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just having, I was like, you don't wear box? Okay.
He is buff AF.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. You don't need.
Mine's related to Bigby as well. It's 2 moments, and they're not related in plot, but they're related for why I like them. When he shifts in the jail scene and shows his true
yeah.
form.
that was really
but also,
cool.
like,
before I rip your throat.
before then, there's a shadow of him on the wall, and
Oh,
it's
yeah,
the
when they're
shape of the
talking.
wolf. It was like, oh damn.
Which
And is
between
that-
him and Snow White when they're first going into Rose
And the
Red's apartment.
colors, like it was the purple. I like purple a lot, and that was real pretty. It was real cool.
Pretty.
Pretty, Caitlin?
Probably the like Snow White. In the beginning when she's like, I'm not your fucking therapist.
Oh,
You
when she's talking to
guys-
Rose Red?
No, when she's talking to Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yeah.
When she's like, you guys have been married for a
Deal with
long
it.
ass time. I have so much more to be concerned about than you.
And
so
honestly, if we
shut
did have
the
legislation
fuck
for
up."
this, I wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think I just like, you really understand the severity of like how tight everything is there. And she's like, I get that this really sucks for you, but so much more sucks here than your problems.
There's a much bigger world out there than what's happening with this.
Yes. So shoosh. Yeah, I really enjoyed that a lot.
And I'm showing Josh right now, there is a frame where grandma, there's literally Big B who's just in his towel and he's smoking and then he's on the phone and then just grandma over the head.
Well,
And I'm just
gotta
like,
remind himself.
Oh.
and it's interesting because like that's the kind of detail that I was looking at. I'm like, and that's one thing I really liked about what this did. It really let you know that there was this weird baggage that was from this old world that they brought over here. Like one of my favorite moments is right after that. Your point with Snow White and Belle and Beast, where and Boy Blue comes like, all right, you're done.
Yeah, bye.
Because you don't bring up Prince Charming and you don't bring up the dwarves. And it's
Yeah.
like, what the
Yeah.
fuck
What happened to
happened?
the
Amnesty,
dwarves?
baby.
And it's like, whoa, what happened? Bad blood, baby? And then immediately you see what happens with Prince Charming.
Yeah.
And I loved every moment with Prince Charming.
Of course you did.
The thing is, I loved it because it's so well done and it makes so much sense.
But it's also they flip it on the they change it. They change it up. He's not like, oh,
you're not
Prince
in shining
Charming.
armor.
He is a douchebag.
He is the biggest
But he's
douchebag.
so charming.
No, but the thing is, I would say like he's magically good looking. Like he has to be brain meltingly good looking in order to do all this shit. Oh, I didn't have any money. Also, I'm gonna hang out with you. Also, we're gonna sleep together. Also, I'm gonna do my laundry. Also, you're gonna pick up my dry cleaning.
Just
like
BT Dub, I'm
Jesus
gonna be here for a couple of
like
weeks.
wow. Like to me, not gonna lie, unless she was fully loaded like billionaire, I would never let any of my bays be like that. I'm just like, that's so much. That's so much on the first day. Like I understand how
he's
people
Prince Charming.
Exactly.
He's got a magic over her.
and that's what I'm saying. Like he has to be so good looking.
He,
And so that's why I'm just like, my goodness. But
oh
like
my God. His like, oh, my coxmanship must be
Oh,
delightful.
yes!
I was like, I hate
coxmanship
you.
must
You
be
just go,
must be
What?
trained as
I
much
just
as
threw
his
up a little.
swordsmanship. And
I-
you must learn
I
when you
love-
have to do a lunge.
I love the added detail that when those scenes are happening, they give you like the top down side angle of the whole apartment. And you can see two
People
teenage girls
on
like
the s-
listening and being like, oh my God. And then there's like
Yeah.
a random guy walking down the hallway and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
I thought that was
I
like,
love that.
it was
It's-
a nice touch that made it feel like this is in an apartment.
I love that because it created a little bit more of what this seedier area
Yes.
is. And like
Yeah.
how this
Good
happens
word,
in
seedy.
every like little unit.
Yes.
And I'm like, that's so cool.
Unit.
Sorry.
Josh, you made that happen.
Really one of my favorite parts, and it's an aspect of the whole shebang, is I love the style of the framing of the panels, the frames of the
Movement.
panels, and how they might have borders, really kind of cool borders, but it doesn't. Personally, I don't think it takes away where it makes it hard to read. It's just like, this is a little bit of a design.
Yeah.
And I like
There
the
you go.
colors that are chosen for a lot of it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it was a really, it's kind of a breath of fresh air where you're kind of getting something a little bit more grungier, darker, but you're also getting a little bit of bright.
Yeah.
Kind of
Pulpy.
Yeah, kind of jumps out at you.
I
Yeah.
remembered my true favorite part. It's Pinocchio.
Oh my God. I want to grow up and I want to fuck.
No.
That made me
I
laugh
want to get laid.
so hard. Like she took my wish so literally. I've been a boy for like 3 centuries.
And no lie, I just imagined Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Oh,
Because
from his Pinocchio
from
movie?
his live action
oh
Pinocchio
my
movie.
God.
Yeah.
Wow.
You remember?
Yes.
You
Remember?
that
Remember?
monstrosity.
With the little like little 3D like
I tried to
clamshell.
forget because I've told the story of like when my little brother would get a new movie, we'd watch it. Like that
Was the
Indian
one.
in the Cupboard. We
Oh,
watched
I love
Indian in the
so
Cupboard. I haven't
many
seen that for-
times.
Even though it should be
Ever.
native indigenous person in the
Yes,
cover,
yes.
but sure.
My next favorite would be fucking it. Obviously, it's Bigby related, but he's fucking swimming in the swimming pool, and then he does his
parlor.
his parlor show in in a fucking robe.
Yeah.
That's how
yeah.
badass
I like
he
how
is.
Jack came in.
He's the dude.
Yeah.
He's the dude.
I like how Jack came in and was like, "Does Mayor Cole know you swim in his pool?" I was like, "No. If he did, didn't tell me." I was like, "Fucking A."
Fucking A, man.
Because I mean, that's the cool thing. Like, he is the big bad wolf, so it's like, yeah, I wouldn't fuck with him.
I'll do what I want.
Another favorite part was the whole like the last several pages of the text of like basically the reason why Bigby likes Snow White.
Mhm.
That whole thing was
Oh,
just like
on the rooftop.
like how no, like the story, like the prequel information basically to this story arc of like how bad the big bad wolf was.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah.
how he's just like chomping people out of the shadows, gets to the center of like an encampment and just demolishes their leader and doesn't even talk about how he got out, like because it was that inconsequential.
Yeah.
Like he was so cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, and that's the thing where I really love. Like the game does a better job than the volume 1, but like, you know, the game came out afterwards, so they had hindsight, right? But like that's the really cool thing that they did with this world and just building it was that like they took everyone's baggage and used it as part of like the tension between everyone's dialogue.
Oh.
Like that's one thing I really liked between Bluebeard and him. It's like, yeah, like you killed people, blah blah. It's like I don't do that anymore, blah blah.
yeah.
And so like, who are you, Big Bad Wolf, to be asking the same thing? Like,
yeah.
any grannies you killed lately? And it's like when they brought it, like when Jack first comes to the office, is like, what's wrong, Jack? Climbing too many beanstalks? And it's like,
Yeah.
kill any grandmas lately? And it's like, oh shit. And it's like,
Damn.
And it's that kind of stuff where it's like you could throw it as, witty banter, or you can use it as like, this is tension that they actually have.
Yeah.
And so like the fact that Belle and Beast have like marital issues and he talks like this, and I was like, my God, that's
It's like my mouth isn't big enough for these teeth.
And I was like,
It was
that's
great.
And it was like to the point I was like, oh man, I totally forgot. I can't read what the fuck he's saying. And I'm like, that sucks. And then also like, I mean, I like the little things like Belle being like, oh, I'm gonna get Prince Charming's land and title because I want something of my own. I just married into royalty. I want to be a princess all by myself.
Yeah.
Then it's like one of those Disney things where it's like, yeah, she isn't really like, shut the fuck up, she is. But then she totally is.
Oh, Cinderella also taking fencing lessons
yeah.
with
Oh, yeah.
Bluebeard. That was super fucking cool.
Yeah.
Who is also divorced from Prince Charming.
Yeah.
He's with wife number 1 getting like bumming eggs.
And I just liked, I really liked those things where like titles and riches were involved, like seeing Bluebeard's apartment where it was like a giant castle because
The magic.
the
yeah.
big area and a small area kind
That
of
Harry
thing.
Potter shit.
Yeah.
Corey, anything else?
I mean,
The comic.
the comic,
Yeah.
all of it. I mean, I loved that. Old King Cole is a jolly old soul, and so he never like does anything that needs to be done, and so
Oh, yeah.
Snow White kind of has to do.
She's
A
got to
bunch
be
of
all of it.
extra work.
I mean, I
The
do
bad
like
cop.
that he's understanding that she's getting personal about her sister's like disappearance, and he's like, "Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course, that's fine." And I'm like, "Oh,
Why you got to be such a good?
why can't
Cool,
the rest of like politics be like that?"
If
I
only,
loved
man.
all the gold border flashbacks to when they were
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
in the Fables.
I don't know why, but I was like, why is that happening? And then it was like, oh, it's just storybook flashback.
Just little flashbacks, and getting to see how not just the people in Fableton, like people around the world, are celebrating Remembrance Day.
Yeah.
Was really cool as well.
Oh.
Just the little
kid with the Superman shirt.
yeah.
I was like,
was
Just
cute.
the little nuances that make this feel like a really lived in world. Sell this comic book for me more than most like this fantasy comic would.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the moment between Bigby and Snow White a lot. Like
oh, it
with
was
that.
on
it
the
was
roof?
really
Well,
cute.
I like the dance. When he's like,
Oh.
I didn't expect to be the center of attention. It's like, stop looking at your feet. It's like, all right, like stop stepping on my feet. It's like, you told me to stop looking at my feet, so I keep stepping yours. Like, well, don't step on mine so hard.
The roof scene was pretty.
And the
good.
rooftop scene where
It
it's
was
like, so wait,
super
why did you ask
sweet.
me to be your do you date? It's like, because I needed to.
It's
And I was like,
because I want you to be my
Because I
date.
like you.
I
Like
you, I
like
think.
you.
I like
And then she's like,
you.
"No, stop, though." He's like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah,
Fine.
that's
Okay,
that's,
message received.
that's short lived.
Favorite characters?
Maybe.
Favorite characters? Yes, I think more favorite parts might trickle in at the end, but yes,
I mean,
favorite.
Big B,
Big B.
easy.
Big B.
Yeah.
Big
With
B
a bullet
and then
and
baby.
second,
Snow
let's do
White.
favorite and then second favorite.
Big B and Snow White.
Snow White.
Oh yeah.
That's the same. Same.
They're just so solid.
Shall we hold
Okay,
hands?
all right.
We can hold hands.
All right, we gotta do one that we all get a little variation of. What's your favorite side character? Favorite.
Now I
side.
gotta
Um,
think.
There it is. There it is. I
Beast.
Beast. Okay.
Yeah, I just think that dynamic is fucking hilarious. The more she likes him, the more he looks like a human, and the more they fight, the more he turns back in. Like the curse has contingencies
Yeah.
on how it works is hilarious to me.
I liked. If I could pick two, Boy Blue and Flycatcher.
Oh, if you could pick two, I picked
Those
one.
poor
Because they were
things.
like messing up the
Poor
apartment.
babies.
And it's like, no,
Oh,
not
yeah.
happening ever after, happily ever after. And it's just like,
And then they get the call, clean it all up,
And-
both of them.
and then it's like, oh, boo fucking who? Like, you're gonna be there all night. I'll send my regards. I was like, like those two guys are like part of the detective agency
Yeah,
practically.
yeah.
Wow, this is hard because I mean, there's a lot of really fun characters.
I know.
Oh, okay. Rose Red?
Yeah, actually, I liked Rose. I liked the Rose Red and Jack dynamic.
Mm.
Kind of what's going on throughout that.
The young
Little
lovers.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, exactly.
Little Sid and Nancy going on.
Yeah.
No lie though, I'm looking at the comic book right now. Bigby looks like John Wick.
Yes, he does.
Looks
Oh
like
my
Keanu
God, what if
Reeves.
we got a
Oh, you have
an
the-
adaptation?
Yeah, I have
the
the comic.
special
Keanu
cover,
Reeves is
right?
Bigby.
No, it's this is the New York Times best-selling version.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just scrolling through the pages and I'm just like, it kind of looks like John
He
Wick.
looks like Constantine.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
bit. A little bit.
Boom.
Oh, and then she has the Vorpal sword
That was really
Yeah.
cool.
Anyways,
The Jabberwocky.
I think known characters, Cinderella.
Okay.
Unknown character, the adversary.
Oh my god.
It's fucking Sauron. Like, it's super cool.
Or
like,
it's the devil.
multi-dimensional Sauron.
Or
yeah,
it's the
it
devil.
does look more like the devil.
This,
But still, very
this really
cool.
did make me like go because I haven't read past volume 1. I knew that I read it and was like, this is cool. And then there were other things to read. But this is like, because I was just getting like a taste test of all of these things. And now it's like, this is making me go, well, I have Comicsology.
I'm
so,
hungry.
I'm
I'm hungry now.
I
Nom,
started
nom, nom, nom,
reading
nom, nom.
volume 2.
Guess what?
That's as far as I am. I
My
finished 2.
friend Ian, Lovehammer,
Shout out.
has let me
Thoriel, shout out.
borrow his trades. Guess which one I don't have? Volume 2.
2.
Oh, no.
Because I've read volume 2, so I'm
Oops.
like, now I'm gonna
You
do
want
3 to
know
10.
where else
Looks-
you can find that?
On a
Nerd
great
on-
internet,
Comicsology.
best internet comic book website of all time.
Your face is slowly dying as you're listening.
Your local library.
Comicsology.
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 For those of you that have the
There's a
time to like go
Comicsology
out
party
and
in my
don't
mouth.
have the money to do Comicsology, like some people, the public libraries have comic books, and I found all of the volumes there.
Ooh.
.io
Oh.
/
Comicsology, the internet's #1 comic book reading source.
So,
But
call me-
Comicsology is very cool.
call me-
So wait, yours what? Caitlin, your character, side character was
Cinderella.
Cinderella adversary. Yours was Red Rose and Jack for Josh, and then Corey's was who's
it
Corey?
was the beast.
The Beast.
Beastie Away.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, let's qualm it up, baby. Go ahead, Josh.
Mine's really short. I only have one.
I didn't ask.
What
But
is
go ahead,
it?
Josh.
Wow.
I'm just explaining.
I know.
Just there were some pages that there was just so much fucking text. And I can't read already. So no.
It just got really confusing.
It's kind of like what we said when I love Spawn, but there are some pages that are just like
Paragraphs.
And this
And it's like the entire page.
yeah, and for this I it's not that as much as that, but there were pages that I was like,
just wanted
okay.
I wanted the
Well,
pictures.
I feel like that happened a lot during the parlor scene.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I see.
There's a lot of
every
scenes where it's
bubble
just-
has like a text box.
It's just like where's the
where's the
That's-
picture?
where's the
I don't know what it is, but like because there wasn't as much of that in the beginning, when I'm really like sunken into something, I don't notice it anymore.
Well, it's
Like,
done. It's done the
Yeah.
work for you to be like lulled into it.
Yeah.
let me just preface. It got to a point where it didn't matter anymore. I was like, oh, okay, this is a thing.
Oh, okay.
And so it didn't take me out of it. Only when I first noticed it, and I was like, oh, okay, Josh, this is a part of this book. I just forgot about it, and so it's just a stretch qualm. Really?
To Caitlin, to your point, it's kind of like Nolan. He does exposition so well in the beginning, so like you don't notice that there's more exposition later on. You're like, what the fuck is this? But then you're just like, I'm in the story.
That's I am.
fun.
That's me.
Corey,
100%.
qualms?
Nope.
Oh, his was shorter than yours.
Nope.
Caitlin,
It was just so immediate. I don't really have any qualms. It just felt
All right,
like
Corey, go back
one
to-
section was a little slow, like the blood scene when they first get to the crime scene, because they were
it's
panning
an
over.
investigation.
I know it is. It just
And all those frames pay off in the end.
they
Yeah.
did, and they did. It just
Like a good mystery, not like Sherlock bullshit Holmes.
anywho,
Wow.
it felt a little slow during that
Tom
point.
suddenly
I get
thinks
the
he's
whole
better than Arthur
point
Conan
of
Doyle.
it. I get the whole point of what they were doing. It just something about that was like it took me out of it a tiny bit.
Okay.
But like I got what it was doing.
I don't think I'm better than Arthur Conan, whatever his name is, but I'm kidding.
Wow.
I'm kidding.
Wow.
Oh
Revered
my
writer.
God.
You know the drill, as
As
always.
always, no.
Beat the strats but no, I'm just talking about actually more of the show and other later iterations of Sherlock because I've never read one of the Sherlock Holmes books. I'm assuming they've done it better. But the thing I loved about Fables in terms of a mystery is that like they give you all the clues. And so like you see it and it makes sense later on.
Yeah.
Where like other iterations, and I don't know if the books do that in Sherlock Holmes books, but like other iterations of Sherlock Holmes, it's like I would have never got that because I didn't have that piece of information.
Well, okay.
as,
Unlike the
But-
BBC show.
But then for the books, Josh, it's
Well,
not-
I was just I haven't read a lot. I haven't read Arthur Conan Doyle's versions, maybe one, but there is a current versions, current lineup, written by Bonnie McBird. Shout out. She's an awesome writer, but she has a new series of Sherlock Holmes books. And the way that she tells the
Lays it
mystery.
out.
Yeah, she lays it out. I would strongly suggest that you do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have pictures. It's a book.
Well, I don't know, Josh. One of my qualms is it has a lot of text.
Wow.
Wow. I was gonna say I think I like realized what it was is anytime I've like enjoyed these kind of the thing where he said he immediately figured it out. I don't know why, but I was like, you're a cocky little shit, and I don't think I like that. But like I love Sherlock. So I was like, as you were saying that, I was like, oh, it's because he did the same thing that Sherlock does, but he's not the same like personality type as Sherlock. So I got kind of annoyed, and then it felt a little slow because it was like,
mad.
well, no, he just like, because I know that Sherlock does the exact same thing where he draws it all out, gets everybody together in the big reveal at the end. But for whatever reason, like the personality type didn't feel like it matched as much because of like how the wolf was in the end. Like some of that just
I see
didn't connect
what
for
you're
me.
saying.
So that's why it felt a little slow in that time.
You know, and we're talking about fucking mysteries. I don't know why, but now I just thought about. I don't know where I started getting on this big old binge of just watching. I don't know why YouTube has this, but they just have.
YouTube has a lot.
They just have
So
the
much.
end scene of every Monk episode. And so it's always how he reveals and how he finds it out. And I watched a shit ton of those. And I was like, I remember these.
I
'cause
haven't seen that in forever.
It's such a good, and I was thinking about like, they did such a good job drawing out, like showing you everything you need to know and then how he pieces it together. And
You
so
guys,
like the-
rewatching
the
Monk would
first-
be really good right now.
The first 2 seasons of The Mentalist are pretty phenomenal for that reason.
And that's the thing I was gonna I like to add to that. Like any type of mystery show or any type of show that does that, or any type of medium that does like here are all the pieces. To do that for more than one is definitely super hard. And I'll tell you right now, not all of Fables is like this. It's not all a mystery. And
Mhm.
that's like what was one of the big like triumphant moments for the series was that it started out with a murder mystery, and then the rest of the show, the rest of the books,
And now for something completely different.
are just more like dramas,
Oh.
and then you learn more
Tom,
about
what-
characters.
What are your qualms?
My qualms is you didn't let me finish this. I'm kidding.
Wow.
Yes, I did.
So
I
aggressive.
appreciate it. I guess my only qualm, and this is a bad qualm to have, and so I'll kind of say I can throw it out the window because
That's a bad qualm.
it's because of the video game, and the video game I
Oh.
think dives
It
into
tainted you?
it dives into the characters a little bit more than the book did,
Mm.
and so
okay.
I really really like that. But also the video game's like 18 hours long or
Oh
whatever the
my
fuck, right? So
God.
like you spend way more time and you start looking at how the characters start thinking, and they just kind of go harder into, as Ollie would say, the paint of how these characters' tensions work better, like between the woodsman and Big Bad Wolf.
And you have to for that type of game.
Yeah, and so like I think the game definitely is like a crown for the
Because it's
series.
much more narrative drawn.
Yeah,
It's
well
Telltale.
this one here is
Yeah.
a little bit more ensemble, you know.
Mhm.
So if anything, it's like I have to read more, and obviously there's 145
Wow.
more issues to read. So I will definitely do that. But yeah, that's the one thing is that like I wanted a little bit more of like, what is Bigby thinking about? I don't really care about Bluebeard. I don't really care about King Cole. I don't really care about Jack. Like I want to see what happens to Bigby. And I know at least in the second one, you go more about Snow White, which is really cool. So that's it. I just want a little
Okay.
bit more between the characters in this one.
Okay. Okay.
Is that everyone's qualms?
Yes.
yes,
all
it
right.
is.
Because Corey said no really fast.
So
I said nope.
Nope. I'm sorry.
So let's go straight into our final segment.
The rating.
Rating.
Wow.
So Tom, you're first.
I am the first one, and I
am the boy who rates.
I am the. We have to make sure we say rates.
Rate.
I'm the rating boy.
There we
I'm
go.
the ratist.
No. No.
It's
no.
the
No.
I am
the one who rates.
Uh,
No. No. No.
my
no, no.
rating for this will be a 4.9.
Ooh, girl,
Not a
what?
5, but a 4.9.
Okay. Okay.
It's I think a wonderful way to get into a new comic book, especially for those who have not read a lot of comic books. It's not so heady with a lot of lore because the characters are more, if you think about it, more iconic than superheroes are. Like we all know Little Red Riding Hood, Big Bad Wolf, yada yada. So it's not too hard to get into it. You just have to get into like what is actually the story telling me. Like how are you actually playing with the
Yeah.
characters?
Okay.
Yeah. For me, it is a 4.8 because
Ooh.
I've read the second one and I haven't read the rest. Meaning I don't know if I can give this a 5 yet.
Okay.
But
Oh.
judging by
I
what
see.
I've read in the second book, this is a
You like it.
Oh.
You like the single book.
So your
I like
rating
it.
was
You like it.
affected by reading the second one.
Yes.
Giants, baby.
Because
true.
we're going
It's
to
true.
cover that eventually, I'm assuming.
Oh, yeah.
So,
For sure.
How many volumes are there?
yeah.
25?
If you
Ish.
150 divided by 5.
Yeah, 25.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Sure.
I'm the one who
I saw
maths.
Josh just have all of the fucking algebra like scroll.
I'm the one who maths.
Josh,
No, 30.
you're next.
Yeah, because I can't read. I would say 4.8. I'm just
Girl,
gonna
what?
say that just because the long text did kind of affect my experience in a way. But it's 0.2.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
It's tiny.
But you've started reading the second one too, right?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
Caitlin.
Yeah.
yeah.
4.9.
I was wrong.
Wait, Corey and I are.
Yeah,
You
the
are
grumps.
the grumps.
We
Y'all
are-
the grumps.
We are the
Not
one that
you-
grumps.
not you, Josh.
Take it away. We are the one that grumps. All right.
You
At a
You grumbles.
4.8.
was any of the nation right on who guessed?
Yes.
Not for. They mostly voted for Caitlin.
Aw,
Yeah.
guys.
That sounds right.
No, they mostly voted for Josh. I'm kidding.
That was like the kind of
They mostly
response
voted
where
for
you
Josh.
don't get chosen
So
for the
no, they
dodgeball
mostly
team.
voted for Josh, and they did vote for me.
Shout out to.
So y'all were right.
Nice.
I downloaded all funny. Shout out to Dana for voting for me.
Dana.
Wow.
Jackie for voting for Josh.
Yeah.
And Barack Peterson for voting for Josh.
Oh.
Brock.
Yeah.
Got him right. You
There you have
are
it.
the guest that Grumper
Grumpers.
Gator.
Nope.
No,
Still-
Could have stopped at the
Nope.
guess that grumper.
Well-
Grenadier.
Moving on. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for listening. However you ingest this content, we appreciate you
With your ears,
joining
with your
our conversations.
With your mouth.
Wow. Okay. What? No.
Huh?
Tastes like la 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 la.
Okay.
What's wrong?
Oops, sorry.
Josh?
No, wait.
Ah.
Brock voted for Tom.
Oh.
Charlotte G voted for Josh.
Ah.
Brock.
There you
Brock, man.
Brock.
There it is.
The real Holmes.
If you have read Fables, tell us what you thought. Reach
Yeah.
out to us on social media, all of our different messaging platforms. You can email us. We have all sorts of ways of contacting us.
Did you climb the beanstalk? Did you eat Granny?
Whoa.
That sounds like a lot of euphemisms for getting high.
Josh?
or something else. If you are new to Nerd On, please check out our website, nerdon.tv.
If you are high.
If you are high on Nerd On, do check out our website, nerdon.tv. All of the content to keep that high going. Please stop by, rate, review us, like the thing, follow the thing on all the different things. It really does help us to grow. Consider joining the Nerd On Nation. That is something that always helps us grow. Every little bit helps. But yeah, that is it. We love you all. You know the drill. As always, Nerd On!
Ending broadcast.